Boomers are mad at boomers. My work had a presentation last week from the Department of Workforce Services. The meeting was about 60 boomers and maybe 10-20 younger people. Most of them were Republican from some of the comments I heard through other presenters. The presenter gets to the labor shortage and asks what people think is the reason for it. No one wants to work, lazy young people, too much free money, everyone wants to work from home. Not sure what this last one has to do with it. Imagine all of their surprise when he presents scientific evidence that the cause is boomers retiring. Further, boomers retired and have all this wealth that younger generations don't even begin to compare to. Lastly, boomers and following generations didn't have enough kids to replace them when they got older and retired, so now it's impossible to have enough people to replace them. Crickets. We are at the point where rich boomers will start forcing the regular boomers back to work if they aren't bedridden. Good thing they're used to pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. The labor shortage is just getting started. The lowest unemployment rate in history is my response to every Republican, all generations, who spout that hateful nonsense that nobody wants to work. I am a boomer. I know what is really happening. CEOs who make 3,000% of their wage workers' salary is what is happening. Profit over people is what is happening. The funny part is that boomers got all this attention and opportunities that was never given to any other generations before and since, but them being them never noticed that they are not the norm but the exception. He forgot the part where boomers voted for idiotic and regressive politics that exacerbated the issues. Exactly. This is something I bring up all the time. Boomers have retired at a rate we've never seen before. They held the better jobs. Now they are letting go and younger people are filling the roles. The least paying jobs have the least interest, and now there's not enough people to possibly fill all the low-paying jobs. No one wants to work? Point at the boomers. They are the ones retiring. No one wants to work for crumbs when higher-paying options have opened up. Want to know why high school sports are seeing fewer and fewer sports officials? Boomers. Or maybe Gen Xers. The 4060 crowd. They don't want to do the work anymore. It's not the youngins, they have jobs they have to do most of the time and that won't let them work these games. They also have young families now. But the older ones don't. And a lot of them would rather just have fun themselves than be bothered with sports. Also, boomers, especially in the upper ranks of corporate America, hung on to their jobs for far longer than previous generations and prevented the younger generation from being promoted and getting raises. They also pushed for building a sea of car-dependent cities and suburbs. So everyone needs a car to get anywhere. Can't help but wonder if it was Borat dressing up and trolling the boomers with facts to get them squirming and booing. Did you notice hidden cameras? Everyone wants to work from home, is projection. They know they're the kind who would do absolutely nothing working from home. So they assume everyone else will be unproductive at home. Did you get a chance to write down the sources? My parents aren't, nobody wants to work anymore, bad. But they were complaining about something retail or food service. I pointed out that our unemployment is so low that it effectively means everyone who wants a job has a job. People like them are retiring earlier than anticipate. People like my teenage nibbling aren't entering the labor force. And about 400,000 people 1865 died of COVID. They were luckily open to the facts. Probably I tied them directly back to the family. And whenever my mom bitches about how disorganized Kohl's is, I tell her she can apply for a job. She doesn't care for that response. My father also only last week realized that wages haven't kept up with cost of living and people my age can't afford housing. At least he realized it eventually. Edit to add crucial negative. Boomers will deny, gaslight and blame until they literally force the narrative to change and fit their views of society. When presented with facts, they tend to go into a catatonic state. They cannot comprehend that their worldview is wrong. We're at an interesting point in time in society when the largest generation is coming well into retirement and the second largest. I remember seeing that somewhere. Could be wrong though. Generation Millennials are moving into the vacuum the boomers have left and are immediately finding out the dustbins haven't been emptied and filters replaced. What were millennials are also finding out is the boomers and Gen X haven't left behind enough money for us to survive on. Remember the threat of death panels? Wait until rich boomers have to start acknowledging that poor boomers are pulling them down. Onward we march. The silent generation was just as bad. I mean, it's crazy that we have people from the silent generation still in office. Lastly, boomers and following generations didn't have enough kids to replace them when they got older and retired, so now it's impossible to have enough people to replace them without immigration. But boomers are also notoriously anti-immigrant. Okay, 61-year-old here. So I qualify as a boomer. I want to know where all this wealth that I'm supposed to have went. I've spent 38 years in a trade, and just recently was asked to go into public high school to teach that trade to high school kids. I've got no wealth. I will agree with you that some boomers think that the kids coming up are lazy and don't want to work. I do not agree with that. The kids I'm teaching are very interested in what's going on and want to learn. The kids I interact with in other places are very interested in working. Boomers in general have created an unworkable situation, and I hope that you guys can fix it. Curious. What sort of company has a workforce comprised of 75% people who are 59 plus? Haha, yep. I kind of think this pattern of being angry at themselves but blaming it on the kids is always what boomers are doing, but causing historic numbers of workforce reduction by taking early retirement while complaining that the workforce has been historically reduced by a generation who will never be able to retire is possibly the most boomer thing that boomers have ever boomed. Stop. This has never been about boomers versus every generation after them. This is a battle of the elites versus the commoners. This happened in the 1800s, the 1700s, and as far back as you want to go. Fight the elites, not each other.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.